Have you ever wondered whether the problems in the world today would exist if we had deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the environment, and acted from that place?
Welcome to the Conscious Action Podcast with your hosts Brian Berneman and Kayla Greenville, who believe that connection is the key to taking conscious action as individuals and creating a better world.
We are here to raise awareness and inspire meaningful action by sharing stories, knowledge, and conversations with thought leaders and change makers.
From sustainability to well-being and everything related to conscious living, our mission is to empower you to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of the Conscious Action Podcast. I am Brian Berneman, your host, and for this episode, I have the pleasure to be joined by a fellow Argentinian all the way now in Puerto Rico, another island, as Ivan just said, Ivan Anz. Thank you, Ivan, all for taking the time to be here and for exploring everything that we're going to explore during this conversation. And first of all, for everybody that is listening to us, who is Ivan or Ivan?
Well, Brian, I am a serial entrepreneur and a philosopher. And what I mean by that is serial entrepreneur is an entrepreneur that creates and is more comfortable with the creation of multiple enterprises. And a philosopher is someone that creates different ways of living for humanity. That's by definition. So that's who I am. And I am the creator of the Philanthroinvestor Phenomena across the world, where I started in 2009 the possibility for investors to support humanitarian causes. So we connect investors with humanitarian causes so they can grow their capital while helping others, or they can make money while changing people's lives. They can not just invest, but invest with the purpose. And basically, all of this started because I had a God revelation, what I called, because I was looking for ways to find the path, a purpose, not just make money for money, because money for money was like not good for me. Like it was, I was feeling with my heart empty. And as I did that, and I was looking, I was very involved in the speculative investment world. And I was involved in crypto, Forex, and stocks, you name it. And I was experiencing this like money going up and numbers, watching numbers in the screen with money going up and money going down and all of this. And that I thought that cannot be life, because watching numbers at a screen is impossible that is life. Like, what is these people doing all day just watching this money going up and down? Come on, we didn't come to this planet just for that. And in a point, just asking, I was sent this revelation came to me like Philanthroinvestors. And I asked, my Lord, what do you mean? Like, what is this Philanthroinvestors? And I thought, I don't understand much what you're trying to tell me. And he says, well, Ivan, in 20, 30 years from now, people will be more conscious with the action that they take with their money. And they will be more conscious on the result or how to utilize the resources. Because in this way, they will want to see what is the effect that their money is creating. So just because money is like oxygen, you breathe in, you breathe, you know what I mean? You inhale and exhale, right? Like the exercise. And when you are making money because you are producing, right? Then that air or oxygen that you give out, it also will give you new oxygen, or it's gone forever, or it will create oxygen for other people, or it will not create oxygen for other people, and so on.
Yeah.
So that is what God shared with me was people will be more conscious with that, and in the future they will not be throwing money away in the gambling industry, or they will not be using that as that oxygen that they have gotten by the production. They will not just throw it away into basically speculation, right? So then it hit me, and I got it, and I went into the creation of the philanthropy investing world. To give you in a nutshell, after we are now 13 years of existence, we have created one housing philanthropy investing neighborhood that started in Argentina, where I was born, where I gave the possibility to, I had investors supporting families own their lots for very cheap money every month, and payable during 20 years. Then in 2014, I decided to move this concept to the US, to expand it, and launch a company called Equity and Help in Florida. That company has right now approximately $50+ million that of investors in 16 countries of the world that are supporting basically families to live in their own home in the US, in 34 states. We have 250 team members between the full-time employees and the independent contractors in 34 states that are helping us with the homes and so on. And that company is an Inc. 500 in a row for 3 years. 3 years Inc. 500 in a row, which means that it's one of the fastest growing companies in the entire US, in the position number 83. Then in 2019, I had another revelation, yes. And he was telling me, Ivan, I didn't give you the Philanthropy Investor brand and identity concept and everything just for you to go and help families live in their homes. The planet has much more problems and issues than that. And he guided me to research more on that. And I researched more, and I find out 6,000 kids die from water-related diseases every single day. And I discovered that 80% of the water is released untreated in the world. And I discovered that 1% of the water is recycled only in the US. Only 1% of the water is recycled. And the water infrastructure is crumbling. And there is, in the next decade, will be 3 million jobs needed, positions filled just in the US in order to be able to accommodate and supply and the needs for the water for the country and for the 400 million people that there are in the US. So then I found the company, and I joined venture with them, Origin Clear. The only the only water companies incubator, the only water companies incubator in the planet, with an amazing vision and technology and so on. And then I continue researching, Brian, and I discover that 8 million tons of littering is going to the ocean every single year. So I expanded and looked, and found the company to join venture with in Dubai, which is an amazing technology to connect people with the ability to earn crypto while they are helping the planet with collecting the plastic and recycling the plastic. And it's called Z-Loop. So basically, Philanthroinvestors, which is my umbrella company that connects all of these Philanthroinvestors, is this platform that connects you with the specific company that we have vetted for a minimum of 6 months to a year, and we have personally invested, and we believe in, and we support the CEO and so on. So we open the possibilities for everybody to join us and become a philanthropy investor, which is someone who invests money and time, engaging emotionally to promote human welfare while earning a financial return. And that's the combination of both worlds, philanthropy and investing together. So that's who Ivan Anz is.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that, Ivan. It's a lot, and there's a lot of things in there that I want to go a little bit deeper. But before we do that, I want to know from your own experience. So you said, like, you're a serial entrepreneur, and as well that you got this given to you. So I wanted to ask a little bit more on your journey, on what led you to be an entrepreneur, and as well, how did that connection came about?
Yes. I was 7 years old and I created my first business. I had a go-kart in my home in Argentina, and I will lease it to my friends, neighbors, and I will sell them candy. So I always think in the creations that I do, I don't think much for myself. I think for the impact that will make in others. And that's basically how I just started. My parents are entrepreneurs, and I learned from scratch. And they were philanthropists. They are philanthropists. So even when they had bad economic months or bad economy, they continue giving to their church, or they continue helping, or they continue putting together a donation for some of the community, like Rotary Club in Argentina and so on, right? So I just received this when I was growing. And if you go in Amazon and you get my book, Housing Philanthropy Investing, Invest with a Purpose, you will see all of that story. It's just beautiful, because it's beautiful written there, and explain the core of philanthropy investing from where it comes. And then after 7 years old, when I was 14, I had a radio show. I created my own radio production show. Then in the same type of years, like the same time, that was like 20 years ago or so, I also created a 4x4 education company, where I was inviting people, adults, to learn how to drive 4x4 in the mountains. And the reason for that is that I was not able to drive in the street because I was 14 years old. But I can drive in the mountains.
That's funny.
So I figured out that, Brian, and that's what I did. And then what brought about that revelation is, one day I was in the shower, and I like to take 2 showers at once. I like to take 2 shampoos. And the reason that I do that is because the shower time is a time of you being with yourself, right? Similar to a meditation, you being with yourself and connected with every sense right around. And I paid a lot of attention to the ideas that I have in the shower, because they just come, because it's just that moment that I am not with the client, I am not in a podcast, I am not with my family, I am not it's just me with me for that 10 minutes, right? And that's how it came. And every single important important revelation that I have had, the business revelations like this, it has happened in the shower. So my executives always tell me, Ivan, go take more showers. Right? So yeah.
Beautiful. That's a great one. Yeah, I know, like a lot of times it's been my experience, and with a lot of people that I work with, that they say like a lot of ideas come in the shower, and it's like, well, we need to have like a little pad or something to write, because then a lot of times people forget them. So it's really really true. Important. Yeah, that's beautiful. True. Yeah.
No, you know, more important than the ideas, for you to don't forget, is when you get the idea, you need to make a decision, because when you make a decision, normally it's not more in the idea world. If you get the idea, I get the idea that, I don't know, I should go to New Zealand, because just an idea, right? Because I will learn new things. Okay, I may forget that idea, but if I make the decision in the shower that I am going to go to New Zealand, because I don't add time between the idea and the reality in my life, because I trust myself more than anybody else, because that's how it should be, right? Then I trust myself and my connection with God, or the supreme being, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, right? So I trust myself with the connection to the universe and God and other beings like that. So I can say, hey, I make a decision. Because if you make a decision, then you go into actions, and you go into conscious action, because you had the idea, you made the decision, and that takes you to the action. If you cannot make the decision, it's because you're lacking information. That's the only reason why people cannot make a decision fast. Sometimes because they cannot trust their intuition or their perception, so they need more information. Or sometimes they trust their intuition, their perception, but they still need some information to decide, do I do A or do I do B? Is New Zealand better weather than Australia, right? I'm just giving you an example. But you make a decision, and that's how you don't forget. You move ahead in your life.
Yes, that's great. And you know, I think that it's really important in the sphere of taking action, which is one of the things, of course, that here at Conscious Action we talk a lot, is that we might get a lot into that thinking, ideation, and just ideas and inspiration. But if we don't actually act on it, then it doesn't really matter a lot of times. Like, ideas are out there for everybody that is open to receiving them, to receive them. That's why a lot of times, like throughout history, there's been multiple people in very different places that have basically had the same idea. It's like, well, no, the idea was out there. You were just like open to receiving it. And then someone actually did something with it. And a lot of people didn't do anything. So I think that's really interesting. And I'm interested, Ivan, in talk a little bit more on the Philanthroinvestors perspective, because in the last few years with Conscious Action, we actually had some events that we actually talked about doing good with money, and the power that how we are voting with our dollars, whether we have a lot of money or not, how we're using it, and what's actually happening, and who are we supporting, and what it is that is behind of what we're supporting. And I think that, you know, this is just my point of view, and I would love to have yours. There's so much money in the world, like so much money, and we keep on printing, therefore there's like unlimited money, even though a lot of us learned that money doesn't grow on trees. It just grows in a computer. They just add a number and it keeps on growing. But what are we doing with that? And how are we actually being able to support all of the challenges that we have as a humanity and as a planet at this moment in time? And how much, and as you were saying earlier, a lot of people's mindset change in terms of, I don't want to just make money because of money's sake, like money by itself, not doing anything positive. It's just money doing nothing really. And being able to support those that actually are in need, or supporting something around climate action, or supporting something about human rights, that makes a huge difference in people's lives. So like from your perspective, and for everybody that actually is investing in philanthropy investors, why are they doing that? Is that because they feel that same connection to humankind and to what's going on?
Yes. And let me give you some information, because you said something in how much money is in the world and so on. There is, out of 2020, not now, but 2 years ago, the global assets, meaning all the money that there is circulated in the world in the form of money, meaning like liquid cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not real estate and so on, but cash circulating is around the global assets is $1,540 trillion. So $1,540 trillion will be like 1 million billion dollars.
Yeah, wow.
It's like amazing. So yeah, it's like the value of the crypto world, which is the Bitcoin and all of that, is like $500 billion, but it was $1 trillion. So it's like having 1,540 crypto industries in the world, right?
Wow.
That's basically what it is. And then on Philanthroinvestors, to follow with your next question, they are been investing. We have two types of people that comes because they want to help, and people that comes because they want to make money.
Yeah.
The one that wants to help is totally fine, because if you say, hey, and you also will make money, they're happy. But it's not the primary reason. But the ones that come just for money, we need to educate them to the level enough that they understand that they are not just investing and expecting a return. They are getting a return, but they are also putting the resources towards the direction to improvement of humanity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. And Ivan, I'm interested in terms of that. How are you deciding or choosing where that money should go?
The investor itself is the one that decides.
Okay.
They are, when they come, they learn about everything about philanthropy investing. They get into a one-on-one meeting with one of our philanthropy investors consultants, and they learn everything in the universe of philanthropy investors, as I said, and then they decide, hey, I think I love to help water. Oh, I think I love to see less plastic go into the ocean. Oh, I think my money should go to help families live in their own home while, I have the security of the asset of the house itself, and, it's insured and so on. So, or I just want to support a company that is improving the water in the world, or a company that is helping prevent the top 10 diseases in the planet. That's one about that. That's another one we are about to launch in a few weeks. So yeah, they decide. You come and you decide. You build your philanthropy investing portfolio, similar to how you build your stock portfolio, or similar how you build your real estate portfolio, or how you build your crypto portfolio. You decide what to put in that portfolio. Philanthropy investing is a portfolio you build for you.
Yes. And is there, because I have done throughout the years, I have been part of a lot of different organizations or supported some organizations. And I think that as well, one of the biggest things for me and for a lot of people is that have the possibility of doing so. It's not only just to support with money, but support with time, but support with skills, support with actually being there. Is that also an element of the things that you do with philanthropy investors?
Yes, and that's what we call true financial freedom. And you will learn about it in my book also. True financial freedom is not just getting money getting cash flow and capital growth that exceeds your lifestyle expenses. No, true financial freedom includes engagement, includes knowledge, includes being alert of what is happening in your environment, includes basically fulfillment, because just money for money will not give you fulfillment. Money for helping others, it will give you fulfillment. Money for helping others and getting money back, it will give you more fulfillment, because you can now go into a compound interest of help and a compound interest of cash. You have two compound interests.
Yeah. And I'm interested in terms of this, when you're working with like these new businesses that are coming, what has been in your experience now, like in this last, 13, 14 years with this, have you noticed the fact that the companies that are doing good, let's call it, or that are doing something positive, or are trying to tackle an issue that we have, or a challenge in the world, have you noticed that there's a trend? Because this is just my perspective and I'm not an expert. There's a trend that all of these companies are actually giving a return, because this is the companies that are growing, the ones that are doing a lot of positive things. So companies, as you're saying, that are in terms of water quality, or trying to tackle the problem with plastics, or are trying to tackle the problems with like food, and all of these new plant-based companies, like all of these companies, or clean energy, sustainable energy, renewable energy, all of these companies are growing. Is that something that you've been noticing, that there's even bigger return, and therefore people can recirculate that money even more?
Yes, I have seen this. And the other good thing about it that I perceive, Brian, I have observed, is that these companies have a unique force for survival, which is not in other type of companies. It's like, if they're going through rough moments financially, they will receive a force of like there is an external biggest force in the universe helping them do good. It's helping them be able to stay alive while other companies are going bankrupt in a bad economy or something like that. If you observe, I have observed these companies just survive and grow, and they just continue, and they pass generations and so on. I think there is something there that I still need to discover what is it, but I think it's just God and the universe taking care of what it will help him accomplish his plan for humankind.
Yeah, well, I think that, like from my perspective, a lot of times the companies that have a really strong why, a really strong mission, something that is positive, and it's not just they're existing to sell people something just to make money, those companies will actually most likely survive like challenging times, because that is so strong. Whereas for someone else that is just doing it for the money, it's like, well, the economy is going down, it's like, well, let's like, that's it, let's move on to something else. So I think that there's, for me, a lot of times that element that, and yes, that comes with a force of the universe, or however, as you said, we want to call it, that is supporting that endeavor to actually continue and to stay there. Because it's interesting, like in the past 10 years or so, I have learned so much more that even what I knew growing up in Argentina, of like the challenges that a lot of people are growing up with, and like the problems with access to education, to water, to food, like to a roof, and it's incredible the amount of people that are as well are trying to do something about that. And I think that the more that we can support that, the better world that we're going to have.
Yes, yes, Brian, you're totally right.
And Ivan, if you can share some tips for people that potentially are thinking now, they are listening to this and they're thinking like, oh, like I've been investing my money on something that I have no idea what it's doing. I just know that it's giving me some returns. What would you share with them so that potentially they can start to do something positive with their money, whether that is with Philanthroinvestors or in another way?
Well, I will like them to clarify their purpose first. What is that area on the planet that they care the most? They really are passionate about it, and they care that area in the planet do good. They have a strongest connection. So the way to be more safe and out of the speculative investment world is to support what I call the life essentials. And the life essentials is 10 areas in the world that if they all do good, because they are supporting life do good. And life is you, life is me, life is the people around. That's life. So when you're talking about, oh, are you in relation with life or are you in relation with numbers in a screen? Okay, life is the people. Go and communicate with people. That's life. Communication is life. Not with a screen, with people, with the nature, with the physical things around you that are connected, that need communication with others. So life essentials are, first one is air, second one is water, third one is food, fourth one is housing, fifth one is clothing, sixth one is education, health, clean environment, structures that are over our head so we don't get killed by an earthquake, right? Structures like quality structures, energy, and believe it or not, art. Because the most valuable beings in the world are that beings that can give to others a spiritual enjoyment. So if they can give to others a spiritual enjoyment, that made them the most valuable beings in the world, because what we want here in this planet is a spiritual enjoyment. That's why we do what we do. Call it achieving a goal is a spiritual enjoyment. Having a nice time with a friend is a spiritual enjoyment. Having a good time with family is a spiritual enjoyment. Having a connection and being with the nature is a spiritual enjoyment. Now, the major time of spiritual enjoyments that the majority of the people in the world see as a spiritual enjoyment is connected to art. You know, someone like you that created conscious action and you are maybe into the next level, spiritual enjoyment maybe is meditation. Spiritual enjoyment maybe is being in nature. But for the majority of people, spiritual enjoyment is connected to art, and like 95% of the planet. So listening to good music, concerts, looking at the nice painting, watching a movie, eating a nice gourmet food, driving a car that has great design, living in a home that has great architecture. All of that, behind all of that is one type of human being, the artist. But only 10% of the artists make a living with their art. So we are losing 90% of the artistic talent in the planet. So this is just facts, but that are the 10 life essentials. I will say, if you can get if you want to go more deep on this, if you you can get a copy of one of my books, Housing Philanthropy Investing. You will learn much more, but don't embrace yourself into investing without knowledge. First of all, take full responsibility for the investments that you made. Don't make any other person responsible, because blaming equals unhappiness and high responsibility equals happiness. So engage with your investments and just put all your intention in deciding which of these life essentials you really like. Don't go by the 10, or just pick one first, and then 2, and then 3, and focus on that ones. And then find good companies that have good management, good intentions, that allow you to support them with your money to grow. And that's basically my 2 cents there.
Beautiful. Yes. And I think that's so important. I've been seeing so much more awareness, or so much more communication around some businesses or organizations that are talking about this, about the fact that, like, even though you don't know where your money is going, potentially your money is actually supporting something that you might be against. So the more that you can actually support something with knowledge and information, something that comes, as you say, like from the heart of being human, and to enjoy life and to support life, that makes a huge difference. Because how different would the world be if everyone that is investing small amounts or bigger amounts is investing in something that is creating change for the positive? So I think that it's a very interesting time, like, in humanity, in time now, really, because I think that there's so much disruption of so many systems, and so many things are collapsing, and as well we can choose the direction that we want to go as humanity. So the last thing, Ivan, that I want to ask you is, what is the one thing that you wish everybody in the world knew?
Wow, that's a very good question. Well, so many answers comes to mind, but the first one is the one that came first is that you can still grow in your life. You can still do good if you even that you are focusing on others doing good. Basically, it's what I call the law of betterment. And this law of betterment says, similar to the law of gravity, the law of betterment, which is also inside my book, says that if your neighbor is in a better condition, you will be in a better condition. If your wife is in a better condition, you will be in a better condition. If China is in a better condition, the US will be in a better condition. If Mexico is in a better condition, the US will be in a better condition. So it's just a law. You cannot violate it. So just see how you can improve not only your life, but other people's lives. Because it will improve yours. It's just a law. It's just a natural law.
Yes, and I love that, because we have grown up in a society where competition and comparison is so prevalent, and yet I think the same with this, like, if we can collaborate, if we can co-create, if we can, like, support each other, like, the tide rises for all ships. So, like, it doesn't matter whether yours is a small one or a big one, it will rise for everyone if we allow that. Then we have another thing to talk about in terms of equality and equity. But when we understand that if others are doing better, I do better, that's huge. So that's a great one, Ivan. Thank you for that. And lastly, Ivan, for everybody that might be interested in checking a little bit more about the work that you do and Philanthroinvestors, where can they find more?
Well, they should go to Philanthroinvestors.com or pi.today. which is the short link that redirect to philanthroinvestors.com. And also they can get my book in Amazon, which is the Housing Philanthropy Investing, Invest with the Purpose. They will be able to learn absolutely phenomenal information there, and they will be able to. But the main thing that I will say is that if they come to the website, then they can contact us, and someone will reach out to them, and they will receive a full briefing on philanthropy investing, the details, the companies, the offerings, the possibilities, how to help, who you're helping, what are you helping, what do you get, and so on.
Beautiful. And we will have all of those links on the show notes so that everybody can access them with ease. Thank you so much, Ivan, for taking the time for this conversation and for everything that you're doing, which is incredible, like being able to support this betterment for everyone. If you're listening to this episode and something resonated that you want to reach out, please do so. We would love to know, what did you learn on this episode? What did you hear that was interesting? So yeah, thank you, Ivan, once more. And thank you, everyone, for listening to us. And
You're welcome,
we will see you all on the next episode. Bye.
What did you like the most about this episode? Take a moment to think about what change you can make in your life today.
Share your conscious action on social media using #ConsciousAction and tagging @ConsciousActionNZ so we can celebrate your impact on the world and create a ripple effect.
One easy action we would love for you to take right now is to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. This will help us get these messages out into the world and inspire more people to take conscious action in their own lives, contributing to the better world we hope for.